I'd prefer it if we could just crack on, if that's okay. Not a massive fan of small talk.
Scanning for audio.
Welcome to the Tin Dog Podcast, this time talking about the robots. I know, did you think I'd missed it? Robots 1.1. Now, it looks like there's going to be, I think, 3 seasons of this. Why 3? Well, I think, in fact I know this, it takes place in a gap year in the middle of Ravenous 2 actually, where Liv Chenka gets left behind on her home world. Her homeworld is of interest to us because it's Kaldor. Yes, the place that's in the Robots of Death. So, she's from the place that's, well, you know, full of robots. And yes, robophobia has got her meeting the 7th Doctor. She travels with the 8th Doctor. She's away for a year. And all we know for a fact is that she leaves the Doctor. The planet is peaceful. The Doctor comes back 1 year later to pick her up. And when she's running back to the TARDIS, there's explosions going off. That's all we know. It's a series with a specific start and end. A massive arc. Something that I know we can all get on board with. But this is box set 1. So, let's see what the website's got to say. During the events of Doctor Who Ravenous 2, Liv Chenka left the Doctor and the TARDIS behind for just 1 year, a year during which she would live on Kaldor and get to know her sister Tula again. But Kaldor is going through a period of tumultuous change. Technology is changing at an advanced rate, the robots are evolving, artificial intelligence is adapting, and with these changes, so politics is altering too, dangerously. Can Liv and Tula make a difference during the most turbulent time in the world's history? I like robots. I do. You're already aware of this. You know that I like robots. You know that I like sci-fi that looks at the way we are about ourselves, and that's just what robots are. We like that sort of thing. So you've got 3 stories in this box set. First one, The Robots of Life, see what they did there, by Roland. Story number 2 is The Sentient by Robert Whitelock, and story number 3 is Love Me Not by John Dorney. Number 1. Settling into life back on Kaldor, Liv investigates a medical centre where the patients are dying. See, nicely vague, don't get to know much. It's basically kind of a murder mystery with robots. It settles you into the world nicely. It settles you into the way things are. One of the really nice touches is that you know the robots look the same as they did in the 70s, but they've made a conscious decision to keep them looking the same, but they've fixed the insides. It's just kind of what they're used to. It's the opposite of what people used to do in the 1950s with cars. They would make the outsides look with bigger fins, they'd make them longer, but they'd basically be the same car, just with a different shell. They've kept the shells, but they've made the insides more complicated. The problem with more complicated things, obviously, when it comes to science fiction, is that you're always going to end up with the possibility of sentience. The possibility that robots will know more than they're supposed to. Remember, there was the Vox, Supervox and Dumbs, the different classes of robot. But of course, as things get more complicated, you're going to end up with basically a load of Supervox on your hands, which isn't a good idea, because they are cleverer and stronger and faster than everyone. There's even a nice little moment where they talk about what's on the TV, and one of the programs is Beat the Supervoc. Nobody ever beats the Supervoc. Let's face it, robots are our descendants, and they're going to be better than us. I'm currently recording this podcast in my car at lunchtime, and it's raining, so I apologise if you hear any more extra rain noises coming through the mic. You might not, it just doesn't matter. So, Is it a good box set? Yes, without question. If you like Liv Chenka, and who doesn't, great storylines. We like the robots, yes. But you've got 3 stories here. And you kind of kept thinking, oh, is there not going to be a 4th? Well, yes. So we're either going to end up with a set of 9 stories or a set of 12, depending on how many box sets there are. The first story is Liv trying to get a job in a hospital, where, of course, you've got human surgeons and robot surgeons. And, of course, robots are so much better than humans. After that storyline, we've got story number 2, The Sentient by Robert Whitelock. Vissey is a young child, the sort of perfect young girl any parents would want to adopt. She is also artificial, and she sees the world a very different way to humans. As I said earlier, robots are definitely our offspring. They'll be able to survive much further and longer than any of us. If we can get on with making artificial intelligence, our children may survive this world. We may not. But that's just my incredibly dark way of seeing the universe. Or is it reality? We'll get back on that one. They'll be able to go to different worlds where we wouldn't be able to. If ever we made contact with aliens who couldn't travel faster than light, the chances are they would be mechanical life forms. But of course that's hard science fiction. That's not what we've got here. We've got the fluffy, soft Doctor Who-y version of sci-fi. But without the Doctor, the mysteries take longer to solve. They're more intricate, they're more midsummer murdery, and that's what we like. Yes, there's excitement, adventure, and really wild things happening, and that's also what we like. Everyone likes a story of a rogue artificial intelligence, and you're not going to be disappointed with this one. Story number 3, Love Me Not by John Dorney. A widower goes to extreme lengths to keep the memories of his dead wife alive. I don't want to say any more than that. It's a cracking story, and if this is the sort of direction that the box set's going in, you're not going to get any complaints from me. You might have missed this with the whole, oh yes, we've got Doctor Who on the TV, and there's quite a lot of stuff coming out of Big Finish and all this business. But trust me, the Robots box set series is limited run. Purchase it while you can, because there's not going to be that many box sets, because it takes place in 1 year. Time does pass here, and it seems to be heading in one certain dark direction. Welcome to Kaldor. I will be staying. So until next time, here's the trailer. Be seeing you.
Okay, here goes. Hello, I'm Liv Chenka, and I'm here for a job interview.
Coming soon from Big Finish Productions, The Robots, Volume 1.
You're too cynical. You always were. I'm not a cynic. I'm a romantic who's been let down too often.
I shall begin the interview. You were medical officer aboard the space freighter Lorelei.
Yes, although I must point out that I didn't cause the ship to crash into her sun. That wasn't actually me.
To new beginnings.
There is nothing on the file about this incident.
No? Well, forget I mentioned it then. It's probably restricted access. Probably didn't happen.
Medtech Chenka, your services are required.
There's too much new. Kaldor has changed so much. I imagined a homecoming would be homey, not full of innovations.
She's hacked the box! Now what do we do?
Medtech Chenka must be stopped.
I've got a few things to talk to the company about.
Medtech Chenka, you will not do this.
How can you be sentient? There are hundreds of constraints built in to regulate your behaviour and processing.
This is different.
She's a synthetic construct, crafted to look like a 10-year-old female. She's the vehicle for the AI.
Vissey is a complete paradigm shift for Kaldoran technology. She'll usher in a new age.
Kaldor's a loveless planet. There's no love here.
I am not like any other robot.
Robots don't tend to make mistakes, Baron.
I'm stronger than you, Liv. You can't defeat me.
Come on then! Come and get it!
Big Finish. We love stories.
How was your journey here?
I'd prefer it if we could just crack on, if that's okay. Not a massive fan of small talk.
I will make a note. Does not enjoy making small talk.
No, you don't have to put that down. Oh, come on.
Hooverville has moved. The 24th of October 2020 brings with it the best little Doctor Who convention in the world. Tickets available from the Derby Quad website. Guests announcement soon. That was the Tin Dog Podcast. Available on Spotify, iTunes, Acast, Stitcher, and wherever good podcasts are found. Get early access to content by subscribing to the Tin Dog Podcast YouTube channel. You can support the show at patreon.com/tindog. Contact the show on Twitter at tindogpodcast or email tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. All of the things discussed are the intellectual property of others. No infringement is intended. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.